Right, so here we are back at Les's workshop, and I see here a rather nice Kawasaki. Is it a Z9?
No, Z1000.
Z1000, but it's got earlier.
It's been painted up Z9, Z1B colours, and it's got the 4 pipes which are hanging up.
Yes, over there somewhere.
But this is turned into a full engine rebuild.
Yeah, so this is the bike we mentioned actually in the last video, where Jeff was trimming up the crank.
He was.
And that crank is now in the engine.
Yes.
And the engine's now back in the frame.
I put the engine in this morning.
Yeah, and you're now just
starting to
getting
all the
gear back in,
pieces back on, yeah.
Points and so on, whatever that is. Yeah, so yeah, I must say I saw that when you started it, and it looked absolutely immaculate. I mean, it's been really well restored.
The only downside with the bike, which my customer pointed out to me before I'd spotted it, was the rear rim is damaged.
Yeah.
Someone in the past has been a bit of a butcher with tyre levers, probably at the side of the road somewhere, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But the rim is, you can see here.
Oh, it's got some marks on it.
It's battered.
Yes. Can't really repair that, can you?
And I've said to my customer, in my garage next door, I have a rear Z1000 rear wheel, but it's a cast wheel.
Right, but it'll go in there.
But I've said, if we put all the, I think it'll go straight in this. Yes. If we put the cast wheel in, he can get that wheel re-rimmed.
Yes, yes.
And still be able to ride the bike around.
Yeah, I mean, I'd fit new spokes myself. But
oh yeah, and probably stainless spokes and everything. Yeah.
I mean, because everything else is really well done, and it's all well finished.
Yeah, it appears to
polished.
Be. Yeah.
Looks like whoever did it didn't bother taking the engine apart.
It was a mess.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
There's the sump, which is still.
Yeah.
I've not cleaned the sump yet.
Yeah. Let's look at that. Turn round.
Yeah, there's the sump.
There.
And also there was a broken cam chain guide.
Oh dear.
There.
Yes. And so you know it's been apart before.
Yeah, the old one had snapped and dropped into the sump, and then someone in the past had just fitted a new guide into the barrel, front of the barrel.
Right.
But not
looked at everything else.
Took the sump off even.
Yeah.
Well,
obviously the engine's been apart before, because that crank had some big hammer marks on it, didn't it?
The crank had been rebuilt, but very badly.
Yes.
Very badly indeed.
Yeah.
And Jeff has worked his magic and sorted that out.
Yeah, good. But what I've come for actually today, while you're doing all that, is I will need to move the foot peg position on my 1170 up a bit and probably back a bit.
Right.
And looking at photographs of your bike, your Mark II, you have got some foot pegs that are a long way back and quite a long way up.
R1.
Oh yes, yeah.
I bought some readily available off the shelf.
Yes, and then you made the mounts.
Rear sets, and then Jeff welded the mounts to suit.
Yeah, I think the problem was though, when we first did it,
if bikes ever crash, you just buy a standard rear set.
It seemed right at the time, but Jeff mounted, there's like 2 mounts to mount the hangers from.
Right.
And they're really low, they're about there. So you think, yeah, okay, it'll be about there, but they need to be about here.
Yeah, I know where Jeff...
It's about level with the spindle.
On the Z1s, I mean, take that off for a minute, you can get a bracket, a rear set, which you take these 2 pins out, and there's a bracket that comes round with a hole for the swinging arm bolt, a nut, and you can actually, it holds a rear master. You can actually buy them from Webbike, I think.
Hello.
Hello.
Have you got a minute?
Yeah, okay, no problem. Cut, tea break. And so now we've moved next door into Les's warm workshop, where he keeps his Mark II. And what I'm here for is to fondle his levers, because these levers are Brembo levers, they're radial levers, quite expensive, and I think they're 19mm. And I was a bit concerned, because if I buy these for my Mark II, or the 1170, I was a bit concerned that they might give a really heavy pull. They'll work, but I was a bit concerned that the lever action might be a bit too heavy for me. But as it turns out, these are okay. Now this is using the same slave, it's got a hydraulic clutch conversion like mine, as I'm using, so assuming it's all the same, then that's how mine will feel. It is quite heavy, but I think I could live with that, whereas the brakes are fine. I mean, obviously he's got monoblocks on the front, which I'm not going to have. So these are 19mm in size, whereas I've got R6 front calipers, which normally go with a 16mm sized master cylinder, and for the, I'll get this right, for the clutch side I'm using a slave from a Kawasaki ZXR750, and that has a 14mm master, so going from 14 to 19 is quite a big jump, but I think I can manage that. Yeah, it's not too bad. Perhaps an 18. That said, I think these are actually adjustable, and maybe I can changed them to be an 18 rather than a 19, and that doesn't sound much, but it does make quite a difference to the feel of the bike. So yeah, that's useful to know, because I think I might get a pair of these. They're not cheap, they're about £2.50 each, something like that, and then they charge another £50 for these Brembo pots and the mounts of them, so not at all cheap. And I also want to check how the bike feels to sit on when the bike's got rear sets that are quite high up and quite a long way back, because that's what I'll need on my 1170 if I want to fit the exhaust system that I've got, which I do. So in this case, the rear sets are, God, I don't know, maybe 150mm back, 6 inches maybe, and at the same height as the swing arm spindle. The only slight difference with mine is, of course, the seat on this is a lot higher up, so it won't be quite the same. I've actually got a bad knee, so that's going to hurt. Anyway, let me just try it out. See, that feels really comfortable now. I'm fine. Everything feels fine. My knee's fine. Feet are okay. Got clearance for the kickstand on that side. But where things might be a bit tricky for me is this seat is probably at least 2 inches higher than the seat I got on my bike. So I'm not sure how it will feel if I could sit 2 inches lower. But nevertheless, it doesn't really matter because I've got to do it that way. There's no real alternative unless I want to fit a different exhaust system or a one-off exhaust system maybe. So yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? You know, you're trying to get something right. You want to make it look good, but it's also going to have to be comfortable and practical to ride. And mine's at 1170 is supposed to be a comfortable and practical bike, because at the moment I don't have anything like that. All my bikes are uncomfortable and pretty impractical. So that's what I was aiming for. So what I don't want to do is build it so it looks fantastic, but it's bloody uncomfortable to ride, and so therefore I wouldn't ride it very much. Yeah, so anyway, that's a useful, interesting learning experience. He also said, Les said, that the reason why he fitted these rear sets so far back is because he needed to clear his knee from the drive here for the supercharger, and on this side the inlet filter for the supercharger. That's one reason why it's so far back. Plus also it's a bit of a street fighter. There's not much of a lean forward compared to what I'm used to, so yeah, it's okay. Right, let me try and get my knee off this damn thing. Oh, my knee still hurts because my dog ran into me about a week and a half ago, and it bloody hurt, I'll tell you. He hit me from the side, and he's like 43 kilos and he's running full belt, and he ran at me for like playing a game, and he jinked left, and just as I jinked left, and he managed to hit me. He was fine, but I was on the floor in agony. But anyway, it's getting better slowly, it's getting better slowly. Yes, that's quite helpful to know. That clutch is a little bit heavy for me. It's okay now, but I think in heavy traffic I'd soon be getting tired. So yeah, if that's a 19, perhaps an 18, or even a 17 might be better. The reason why he went for 19 is to make sure the clutch disengages correctly, because when he fitted a smaller master cylinder, it sometimes used to drag, and so he then went to a master cylinder, in this case a 19, to make sure that he had enough movement to open the clutch up in traffic and so on. Yeah, so anyway, that's useful to know. I think Les is coming back now with a cup of tea, so let's continue when he gets back. Okay, so you've now got the front end pretty much done.
Well, that was done probably April.
A while ago, yeah. You got your front, you got your clocks on, got a seat on. You were saying you had to fit your seat and your sort of rear.
Yeah, I've just bolted in the rear mudguard, all the aluminium sissy bar and backrest. I've just put the seat on for now, just to keep it.
Because it's that sort of.
I put new bearings in the swinging arm.
Yes.
New seals.
Yeah.
And I've put it in the frame, but you've got an adjuster here on both sides.
Yeah.
So you can actually position the swinging arm central.
Yeah, like my motor gussy's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the book says 2.5mm either side.
Yeah.
I've set it up by eye.
Yes.
But what we really need is probably a plastic shim, 2.5mm.
Yeah.
Just so I can use it.
Because I know my gussy's not right. It's slightly to one side. I need to adjust it, but I've not done it yet. Anyway.
Cat's trying to get in on the acting.
Yeah, Cat's here. He's come to see us.
Wait.
Come to see us.
He loves sitting on motorbikes.
Does he? Oh, I know. Yeah.
Been a biker in an earlier life, I think.
Yeah. I've got to sniff around. Where you going, lad? He's having a look. Oh, like my dog is very nosy.
Yeah, he's very nosy. Is Dexter?
Dexter, yes, Dexter the cat. Here he is. Check him out. Right. Anyway, yeah. So we started filming then just a little bit late, and so that's basically the chassis done. You've got to do your wheels next. Get some tyres on it.
Wheels want painting, and obviously tyres. They were that colour.
Oh right. Okay. Silver.
Yeah. If you look, they're actually silver.
Yeah.
with a
highlighted bit.
Highlights to polish the edges of the spokes and the rims, but there's no contrast.
No.
Whereas the 600 model and the 900 model, the wheels are dark.
Yes.
Dark grey or black.
So is that what you'll do? You'll fit it?
And
or you're going to go standard?
Well, all the badges on the bike, on this bike, are gold.
Right.
So I'm going to go gold.
Yeah, yeah. Why not? Why not? And I think your engine is somewhere here.
Engine's under this newspaper.
Yeah, still there, just waiting.
That's the engine there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's new Conrod on number 3.
Yes, because the old one is hanging up on your wall.
Very bent.
Very bent.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're getting there. It'll be done by next spring, no doubt.
Next job now is to paint this rear diff.
Oh, bevel box, yeah.
Rear bevel box, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I've ordered new seals for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to refresh that and bolt that on, and then the wheel can go in once it's been painted. And
yeah. Cat's still there, still having a little route round.
Oh, yes. He gets into trouble, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, so I've had a good fond of wheel levers, as I say. I've sat on the bike. Feels really comfortable to me, but then again, as you said, the seat's much higher than a standard bike would be. You reckon about 3 or 4 inches at least? So.
Yeah, I've got to modify the seat on this because I'm
not happy with it.
I'm not happy with the riding position.
No.
I've never been happy with it.
What's wrong with it? Is it tilted
well, because I've jacked the seat up,
it's too much.
You're trying to slide forward all the time.
Yes, yeah, like an old 70s or whatever.
Yeah,
Street Fighter.
Because the angle of the seat, I tend to be sliding forward.
Yeah, then
so
you've got to brace yourself.
I'm locking my arms
it's not
to
ideal.
stop myself sliding forward on the seat. So what I really need to do is redesign the seat and have it lower at the back and built up at the front. Yeah. I rode it a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And took it round the block a few times.
Yep.
And it ran a little bit, it was spluttering because it was cold.
Yep.
And as it warmed up, it ran pretty well. Mm-hmm. And then as it got hot, it started to run really bad.
Oh, right, okay.
And the air-fuel ratio gauge was saying it was running around 13:1, which is pretty good, which is what I want.
Yeah, yeah.
12.5, 13:1 air-fuel ratio.
Yeah.
But the symptoms I was getting, it was like too rich.
Yeah.
And as it got hotter, it ran worse and worse to the point where I struggled to get it home.
Yes, it was kangarooing and whatever. Yeah.
Kangarooing, it was awful. It cutting out. Mm-hmm. And I managed to limp home and took the plugs out, took the outer 2 plugs out because the engine was still hot at the time. And they were sooty black.
Yeah, too rich.
Too rich, obviously. Well, I knew that anyway, but my air-fuel ratio gauge must be lying.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going off that and it's wrong, you're screwed, aren't you?
Well, yeah, that's why I fitted it, so I could use it to set up.
Yeah, but it's wrong. I mean, do these things go wrong? I don't know how
I've changed all 8 plugs, put a fresh set of 8 plugs in.
Yeah, not cheap.
Actually, they were.
Well, yeah, you got a good source, haven't you?
I found a supplier for Nippon Denso spark plugs,
and
they're very good.
Yeah,
so I bought 2 sets. I put the second set in now, fresh plugs, and I've also reduced the fueling by 5% on the whole map.
Yes.
It's just a knee-jerk reaction to it running rich. It might only be running rich at low end, I don't know, but I'm going to try and lean it out and then obviously increase the fuel. But I've not had a chance to run it since.
No.
What I need is a sniffer up the exhaust.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the air-fuel ratio gauge. I went for a really good make, and I've also got it. There's also a system on this ECU, which is like a self-diagnostic system.
Yes.
It's a closed-loop system. So basically, it tells the ECU what fuel, you know, what the air-fuel ratio is, and the computer is supposed to correct it. And then when you go into the settings at the end of the day, you can just press enter, change all your settings to what they should be, and it's not doing that.
No, it's not. No, it doesn't.
There's a problem.
Yeah, it doesn't come up with it. But it's because it's on an old
the
software.
fuel correction map isn't working.
No.
I can't understand why.
It's on a really old system. It's like, is it like Windows 7 or something, or Windows 5? Or
the software is on a Windows 7 laptop.
Yeah, which is getting on a bit.
I mean,
now.
the ECU is 2001.
Yes.
So it's 20 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this ECU is the size of a car radio, whereas the same ECU now with that setup, it's probably the size of a cigarette packet.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So, did he still make the same software? Did he still make the same kit?
Well, I need to speak to DTA and find out if they've upgraded the software.
Yeah.
I have attempted to look on the internet, but I've not had any luck.
Because they're normally used for cars, aren't they? On base cars, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it needs to go on a rolling road and be set up properly. Well, I was talking to Dodge recently, down from Barnton there, Dave
Dodge.
Rogers, and he said it took him 3 years to get the fueling and the setup right on Super Booster, the supercharged Booster, he runs. He
Top
does the World
speed.
Wheelie Records
Yeah.
meetings.
20 mile an hour on a wheelie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know,
takes time.
he knows my pain.
Yeah,
As he said in a message to me, it took
been
him
there.
3 years to set it up.
Bought the t-shirt, yeah.
But me working 6 days a week, it's hard.
It's been very busy, hasn't it?
It's hard to get it sorted.
Yeah, but I will actually recommend Anthony. He actually lives near me, and so you go down there, take your seat down, say this is what I want. You'll say about a month, whatever. Do it in winter when it's no big rush, and away you go.
This seat's horrendous.
Yes,
I never liked it from day one. I want to get the bike more comfortable.
Yes.
It's not uncomfortable because I've done some 100-mile run to Squires on it. Yeah. No problems.
Okay, yeah. So there's the pros and cons of building your own bike. In fact, I was thinking actually the other day, I was looking at the Mark II, and I'm thinking that's going to be so easy to do. Just get the engine done, blah blah blah.
It's straightforward.
Buy the bits, bolt it in, and I know it's going to be okay.
You might have a problem with the chain alignment,
or the
which is
exhaust
nothing
system.
serious.
No. But apart from that, you think, oh, the trouble I've had with that bloody 1170 with widening the frame, and you've got to...
You haven't got any of that.
No.
The bodywork's done.
Yeah.
And painted.
Yeah. It's all so easy. It's all so easy. It's like, thank God. And then I thought, what I should do one day is, I think we talked about this last time I was here, I said, I don't think I've ever really pushed myself to build something, I wouldn't say exceptional, but very difficult to build.
Yeah.
Even though my bikes are all nice, I like them all. One thing I like about your Jeff is it's either foolishness or bravery, I'm not sure, but he attempts to do things that he's not sure he can do.
Well, so, I like that.
Yeah, I do. It's quite brave. Some would say it's stupid and foolish, but it's actually a very brave thing to do, to sort of try something that you're not sure.
Better to try and fail than never try at all.
Well, perhaps, yeah. Whereas I always do things and I think, yeah, I can do that. I know I can pay for it, I know I can afford it, I know I can... I can see how it can be done, blah blah blah. Yeah. So next one I think I might do a really, really difficult one. I'm not sure what yet, but I've got an idea. I've got an idea for a really difficult one to do.
This bike was always meant to be a stopgap. The original brief for this bike was a reversed head.
Right, okay. With the exhaust pipes going up the back.
Like a top fuel bike.
Of course, yeah.
And the supercharger was going to go right down at the bottom here.
Yeah. Like a drag bike, yeah.
So the weight's low.
Yes.
Belt going forwards to drive it.
Yeah.
Then an intercooler,
right,
and then out the intercooler straight into an inlet manifold
at the front.
And Jeff said you couldn't cut the frame here and then bring the tube out here sideways and then down. So because you need space for the manifold, he said you'd have to build a complete one-off frame.
Yes.
He said build it like this, put the supercharger at the back, and then in the future we'll build another frame.
That was 20 years ago.
And that was 20 years ago.
And the future's here. Well,
yeah, because I've had other projects.
Yeah. Well, I think your Jeff was on about building a sort of a rigid chopper thing with a reversed head, because he's got the bits.
Well, at the time I had that idea, I wanted 4 pipes coming out the back of the head.
Yes.
And out in a line under the seat.
Yeah.
And at that point, there was only top fuel bikes on that set
and now
up.
You've got MV Augusta and all sorts.
Yeah, MV Augusta brought it out.
Yes.
And if I'd have done it, I'd have been before them.
Yes. Yeah, I think I had a comment on a YouTube video and someone asked the question, what's that symbol on your tank, on that tank? And it's like, it's like, oh, it's the original Kawasaki
I wanted, symbol. It's the Magura, I think. But I wanted to say Kawasaki without putting Kawasaki on it.
Yeah. And
I went for that, and then all of a sudden they brought the H2 out.
And it had that symbol.
They've reintroduced that.
And everyone thinks, oh, you copied that from a H2.
Yeah,
but you haven't.
I had the idea.
You were before.
I
think Mr. Kawasaki was watching you and, we'll copy that. He's like, oh, he's got a supercharged inline 4 Kawasaki engine, right, we'll build one.
I did a reverse barrel Yamaha RD many years ago. Reversed the barrels and I had an RG 500 tailpiece.
Right.
And it was then a few years later Yamaha brought a reverse barrel TZR 250 out.
Right, yeah.
And then I did a chopped a frame in half on an RD, put 2 engines together.
Right.
Chopped the gearbox off one, and they had the engines geared together. Yeah. So there's 2 cranks, like a square 4 almost, but I did them in a V.
Okay.
And and then all of a sudden Yamaha brought out the RG 500.
Yeah, which is now worth a fortune.
Which everybody says is a V4, but it isn't.
It's 2 twins in it.
Yeah, it's 2 separate cranks, so it can't be a V.
Yeah, geared together. Yeah.
It's more of a square 4.
Yeah.
I always had a big 4-cylinder bike.
Yes.
And a smaller
2-stroke
back lane scratcher.
Yes.
So I could, if I was going any distance, I'd set the big bike, obviously. But if I was going out for a quick blast down the country lanes, I'd set the 2-stroke.
Yeah, yeah. Your little 2-strokes over there in the corner, your RD.
My RD's still there.
Yeah, and over there, I'm not sure. Those pipes are for a KH, is it?
That's a 3-into-1 for a KH250.
Yeah, you've got a KH250 over in the corner.
The engine's all in bits over there. The frame's over here.
Over there, it's been powder coated over in the corner.
But that project is on hold because I've got this restorations took priority now.
Yes, yes. Right, so the joys of motorbike building. Yeah, so it's
because you get older, you realise your time's limited.
Oh God, yeah.
Between work and riding bikes.
Well, I don't do work anymore, but I want
and I've suddenly realised I want to be on the
bike.
Few occasions I've got some time to ride
when it's
bike.
nice.
I want to be out on it, not in a garage building them.
No.
Which is why I sold you that project.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, do you remember when Princess Di got married back in about whenever it was 80 whatever?
God, yeah.
That day was a really nice day, right? And the roads were empty, absolutely empty. No one was around.
Best time to go out.
Yeah, and I went out on what was I riding? My VMAX, I think. I was on my VMAX and it was like around Wales. Great day. And I saw a few really nice cars out, like a Ferrari and this, that, and the other. I thought, yeah, they've all got the same idea as me. And I pulled up to the petrol station, and this old chap was in a Bentley, a really old Bentley, like a Bentley from the 30s.
Right.
You know, the blower type Bentleys.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't a blower. Anyway, he came over, I had a chat with him. I said, oh, it's good, isn't it? You know, the roads. Oh, yeah, it's great. He says, well, at my age, lad, he says, you've got to take advantage of every good day you get.
Exactly.
And he was about 70 odd.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful car.
You didn't appreciate that comment at the time of it.
I probably did, but it's like, yeah, whatever, mate, you know. But I'm getting to the point now, I think, yeah, mate, you were right that day. You got to take every day you can get. Especially when it's nice, because most days it's rainy, it's cold, it's wet, there's salt on the roads. You're doing something different, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's why it's a pity, it's bloody lockdown. The day we locked down, right for that spring and summer, the weather was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was.
But you weren't allowed to go anywhere, so.
No, I rode my bike in September 2019 was the last time I rode it.
Yeah, yeah.
I put it away for the winter, and then couldn't ride it due to the lockdown.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's run rough,
Ever since
which I've just realised I've been sold some
dodgy
iffy fuel.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
It's probably been stood in a tank for 6 months at the local Shell garage, but anyway,
on that matter, we've had our tea. You've got to go and continue building that engine up. Probably.
I think I'll do
knock it off.
now.
Okay. I don't know what else you do next door. Anything interesting happening? Anything, have you done much on this one yet? This hang on.
No, it's another project that's dead in the water at the moment.
Oh, it's getting there. It's getting there.
The plan for this year was to get this running right and ride it.
Yeah. And
maybe finish the paintwork, get the paintwork done on the RD.
It just needs cash to do that, doesn't it? It's like £500.
Last October, November, I took the swinging arm out of this.
Yes.
And then I found some rust on the frame. I thought, you know what, I might as well strip the whole bike.
Do it right first time, yeah.
And then I found all the engine problems.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it now. But this is taking priority now.
Yes.
I've had this bike 30 years next month.
Yes, all right, okay. Treat it to a...
and when I stripped it, end of last year, beginning of this year, the plan was to have it finished for September the 10th, which is the 30th anniversary of me buying it.
Right.
But I've sold you that bike, and that money got spent on this.
Yes.
And I've run out of money.
Yes.
So that just shows you how much money it takes to restore a bike.
Oh God, yeah.
What I've done now, and I know it's not going to be ready for next month.
Yeah.
So what I've decided to do is concentrate on doing this on the road this year, and having at least one ride.
Right. Yeah.
But this I won't finish for my 60th.
Right.
Which is next March.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, I was thinking, I bet that bloody Mark II is finished before 1170 the way things are going. But never mind.
Yeah, but it's an easier bike.
It's a lot easier bike. Yeah.
It's an easier bike to do.
Yeah. I've just got to. If I can get my exhaust pipe on.
I've done all the hard work.
Yeah, I know you have, yeah. Yes, I know you have. And thank you very much for that. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I've booked in my paintwork for the 1170 with Mark.
Yeah.
And he said to me, well, I'm busy, This was back in in spring. He says, well, when? I said, well, late summer, early. I said, yeah, about September. Yeah, okay, mate. So I reckon September I'll take it all. I've just got to finish off trying to get the front cockpit fairing mounted. I'm not sure.
I was thinking about that cockpit fairing. Now it was virtually touching the handlebars.
Yes, yeah.
And they had a similar problem on the Z1R many years ago.
Yeah.
They couldn't fit the reservoir for the master cylinder.
No.
Foul the fairing. So they had a cable set up going down to a lever operated master cylinder behind
like an old
headlight.
BMW was like that. Yeah.
So like a remote.
Yes, that's the one, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if Lee's going to do that setup.
No. Well, the thing is, with mine, a bit like yours here, it's got quite thick billet yokes.
Yeah.
Much thicker than a standard old BMW would be.
Yeah.
And so when you fit it on a standard BMW, the cockpit fairing goes from where it goes, and it goes underneath the lower yoke.
Yeah.
But it won't fit like that on my bike. It's got to go above the lower yoke. So I can raise it, because I have to be a bit higher, yeah.
Right.
Because there's no way it's going to fit otherwise. So also, the way it mounts on a BMW is, they're quite clever really, because they don't want to have holes drilled in through the fairing.
Yeah.
So they've got some sort of bracketry, sort of fiberglass in the inside.
Right.
That then can take a bracket back.
Right.
To the headlamp area.
Yeah.
And then where the indicators are,
yeah,
lower down on the side of the fairing, they go through the fairing, and they're rubber mounted, and that holds the fairing in place.
Yeah, the indicator mount is the.
And I think the indicators go on the forks. I think they've got like a clamp that goes off.
It's a standby mode.
Yeah, it's just stopped again the camera, but never mind. Yeah, so that's sort of what's happening. Because the front end just look a little bit empty, because I've just got that one speedo stroke, tacho stroke, everything unit on it. So it's an 80mm, whereas your classic Kawasaki Z always has 2. You know, so I wouldn't have done that unless I'm going to fit some sort of fairing to it. Right, okay, on that note, I'll call it quits. So thanks for watching everybody, and cheers.
See you next time.
Yeah.